Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the premiere, the all-new, all-shiny Geeking Poetic presents the Geeking Squad Podcast. Woo! Yeah! Everybody at home's who cares? What's going on, everybody? I am one of your three hosts. I am Larry Roberts. Across the table from me is none other than
Vito.
And then, of course, we are rounded out by the always awesome, the always looking at me cross with a doubting look as she is right now. It is none other than
Megan Guess.
And what we are doing is we are all part of the Geeking Poetic, whatever you want to call it, the network. Geeking Poetic it's an idea.
It is.
It is,
it's a way of life.
Yeah. It's a meaning. Geeking Poetic is basically like the big umbrella sort of brand or whatever it is that we operate under. And some of you may have already seen and heard our various podcasts and videos on YouTube and all that stuff. Basically, we thought it would be really good to just, once and for all, let's just do a proper all-encompassing show, right? Just like a proper podcast. We're not going to just specifically talk only about one kind of thing or try not fall too far down a rabbit hole on this show. Yeah, you're laughing at me because you know I'll do that.
That never happens.
So that this is just going to kind of be like the flagship show. Also, the reason why we call this the Geeking Squad is because for a little while now, this was the brainchild of Megan over here, actually.
Oh, me.
Yeah. For a little while now, we have been running and facilitating a really fun, cool, informative group on Facebook called the Geeking Squad. It's pretty much open to whoever wants to join.
Yep, whoever wants to join, just send us an invite and we'll approve it.
Yeah.
Invite all your friends.
Right, as long as you don't act like a complete asshole.
And then we'll boot you.
Yeah.
Thankfully, knock on wood, we have not had that issue as of yet.
No.
By some small miracle, but
yeah.
We will if we need to. We will give you the boot.
But yeah, we just thought it would be cool because the great thing about the Geeking Squad is that it's a bunch of people who get together and we just post and talk about all things that are kind of geeky, you know, like, I mean, that's the whole point of Geeking Poetic is that we have segments where we talk about toys, we talk about sci-fi shows, we talk about like, gosh, all sorts of stuff, weird conspiracies and mysteries of the universe and, you know, just every level of stuff that, you know, guys that have glasses that are taped together. I'm looking in your direction, Vito.
Yes, I broke my glasses this week. So.
And how did you fix them?
There's electrical tape on the side there, but every time I like move, it just extends. So They're pretty much worthless, and it's giving me headaches because they're not calibrated correctly to my face anymore. So I'm gonna end up probably just throwing these out pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's been a rough week, huh?
Yeah, it's been a rough week.
So, I mean, yeah, so we are complete and utter geeks, if you haven't figured that out. We are big-time nerds for the stuff we're into. And we just thought it would be cool to share it with everybody. So we started the Geeking Squad. We've got a bunch of regulars in there. You know, we can start dropping it. You know, George is awesome. Danny's awesome. Dave's awesome. There's just tons of people. Andrew. Angie. Yeah, there's a bunch of people, you know, that post in there and share stuff. And we thought that this show would be an awesome opportunity for us to basically talk about all the stuff that at least the most notable stuff that's caught our attention throughout the week or the last few weeks or whatever. You know, because unfortunately we don't really have another outlet for that. If we do a podcast or a video or something where we're talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger or, you know, Star Wars or something like we have in the past, and then somebody posts some like real cool article about UFO sightings or something, we don't have a vehicle to really be able to talk about that. So here we go. We've made one. Yeah. And it was just about time, you know. We said it's about time that it was about time to. I was gonna get that in there no matter what.
Should have waited all night for that one.
Yeah, that's true. But I just thought that we all talked about it and said, yeah, man, let's just do a show where we just talk and just shoot the shit, just shoot some squad shit.
With a squad tripod.
Yeah, there you go.
We're going to get real annoying with just rhyming squad with everything. You'll
what
see.
we do.
Yeah.
before we get into any like particular topics, I think one of the things we're going to probably start things off with is just talk about like stuff that's been going on more specifically lately, things that have personally or just things we've seen. And I think we are going to be calling that segment
What's Shakin Bacon?
Love it.
So anyway, yeah. So I mean, what is Shakin? I know there was something that was brought up in the squad earlier that's got you a little.
That got mixed feelings all the way around, man. A lot of people are not happy about this, and I'm on the fence. I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic about this whole sequel 35 years later of Labyrinth, and I fucking love Labyrinth. So I don't know. How do you do this without David Bowie?
Yeah. I mean if
that dude's dead, right?
Wow.
Holy fuck, Vito, really?
As you're going to find out, folks, if you're not already familiar with the three of us, man, all of us do it, but especially these two are going to be they're so guilty of just not being aware. For as geeky as we are, there's certain things that are just
facts are not my strong suit.
And when it comes,
Jesus Christ, I know that.
Yeah, and when it comes to Vito knowing about like current pop culture stuff, like keeping track of that kind of thing, like people that are dead and all that kind of stuff, yeah, he doesn't know. No. Not a clue.
And I'm not like a David Bowie fan either.
Yeah, well, that's another one of your fucking failings. So,
Sorry.
Anyway, yes, he died.
Yes. So, as I was saying, what is their angle here? Are they going to make it another musical? I mean, who would they get to fill Bowie's shoes? Or are they going to take it a whole different direction and just make it a movie?
Or is it more to the point, who are they going to get to fill Bowie's pants?
Yeah.
Because
oh yeah,
was he stuffing in the labyrinth?
Oh, he didn't. I didn't know if he stuffed. Jesus Christ! See what I got to deal with here, folks.
This squad pod.
Oh my God. No. Vito, you're not very familiar with Labyrinth, right?
No.
Okay, so we don't have the action figure here, do we?
We did.
There
he's
right
up top.
He's
okay.
Up
yeah, they kind of tamed it down for the action figure, but I mean, very famously throughout.
It was in our teaser.
I remember I zoomed in on it.
Right.
Close,
yeah. Very famously, he wore some very revealing tight pants throughout most of the movie, with clearly no underwear or jock or anything like that. So it was just all
dick.
Yeah. All thinly veiled dong. And yeah, I mean, a lot of girls Megan's age, I think it was kind of like an awakening for them.
It was. It really fucking was.
If anybody ever wondered
what
why
the fuck is that?
Yeah, if anybody ever wondered why Megan has such an affinity for pickles, now we know where that all stemmed from.
That's my bacon right there.
That's what's shaking.
That's shaking my bacon.
My gosh. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of people they can get to play the part. I mean, is it going to be the same? I think so much of the allure, because here's the thing about that movie. That movie didn't do very well when it came out.
No, it didn't. It's more of a
underground
thing, yeah.
And now, I mean, it's kind of mainstream. Like, it's very popular because little kids rented it back in the 80s and stuff, and now you're all adults, and so it's gotten some legs since then. As legs and wiener. Yes, I knew that's coming.
This is dong grew legs now.
That dick grew legs. You got new legs, Mr. Dick. Jesus Christ. We're off to a great start with the first episode.
We're just giving them a solid idea.
Emphasis on solid. I'm just trying to be stern and stiff with you, okay? So much of the allure of that movie were those songs and was Bowie. That being said, it's not like it's the first time somebody's replaced a major character. I mean, you look at like how Heath Ledger took over the Joker, and whereas prior to that, everybody had thought that who could top Jack Nicholson?
Nobody.
Well, we'll save that debate for another show. Actually,
that's going to have its own debate.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Batman soon on another show in the Geeking Poetic Network. But and seriously though, I mean, like we've seen that a lot of people adapt to it. Whether you will or not, I don't know. I can't off the top of my head automatically think of somebody that I'm like, oh, that would be the guy. Like,
right.
That person could do it.
That's what I'm having a trouble with is who. I can't even come up with one name.
I don't know.
I mean, they'd really have to do this person up to fill his pants.
What if they took somebody that famously was like a Liam Neeson or something? Because, he's supposedly very famously as like quite the package.
Or Tom Jones or something,
Yeah, that's not unusual.
Oh my God.
All I know is if Tom Jones' old ass comes out in those tight pants and a wig, and some 48-year-old Jennifer Connelly standing there, and all of a sudden he throws open the doors and he's like, "What's new, pussycat?" I'm gonna fucking. But I don't know. I mean.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how they do this. I want to see it just to be able to see it. I may hate it. Who knows? I may love it.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, baby. I don't know.
So I feel about the RoboCop remake that came out a few years ago. I thought it was gonna suck, and I actually really fucking like that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you never know.
So there's some hope. And who was the director of the one that did Doctor Strange? And that's a great movie. A lot of effects and everything.
Yeah.
That's promising.
The director that's been lined up is Scott Derrickson. He did Doctor Strange. He also did. It's interesting too because he's got such a diverse palette of or resume rather. He did Doctor Strange. He did The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which is really cool.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, that was a good movie. He did Sinister.
Oh, I like that movie.
Yeah, he did Sinister. He did the remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Well, Keanu Reeves?
Yes. And Deliver Us from Evil. I'm trying to think which one that is.
It's a horror movie, right?
Yeah, well, it sounds like it, but I don't recall. I'm probably going to smack myself and go, oh, of course I know what that is. I guess it's being produced by Lisa Henson.
Okay.
Jim Henson's daughter. And Brian Henson's also going to co-produce it. And the co-writer for Guardians of the Galaxy, Nicole Perlman, is supposed to be writing the script for it.
Yeah, this looks more and more promising.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. What else is Shakin Bacon?
Yeah. Anything new going on? Anything cool, Vito? Besides Vito's like, God. Other than rain and flooding basements and
this week has been a total bust for me, man. I've been basically just patching up my basement floor, installing new gutter downspouts, and rewatching the TV show Lost.
Really?
Dude, I forgot how fucking amazing that show is.
Okay, you ready for this? I've never watched one episode.
Dude.
I know.
I've never watched one episode either.
I never watched it when it aired on TV. I watched it. Actually, I was really sick one year, so I watched like the first 2 seasons back to back over like a course of 3 days. And now that's exactly what I'm doing now, and it's such a fantastic show. You guys should check it. It's on Amazon.
Prime?
Yeah, it's free, but you have to watch ads every 10, 15 minutes, but it's like 30 seconds.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
It's like watching on normal TV,
I've had access to it for a while now, but the problem is I'm one of those people that would rather wait till one of those shows is done and then like, okay, now I'll watch it because
binge watch it.
I'll just binge it kind of thing. The thing that's warned me off of it is that I heard from so many people, they were like, man, it was another one of those like jump the shark kind of things where the end was just such a letdown.
Yeah, the end. Yeah, dude, the first 3 or 4 seasons is where it's at.
Okay.
It's like a 6-season show, if I remember correctly. So the last 2 seasons are it's just weird. Like, I don't think they knew how to end it, even though they said they did, and then they just threw something out there, and it's like, oh, okay.
I don't think I think a lot of these shows do that, man. I think I'm sorry. I mean, and if they did, it's one of those things where I would give them more credit if they say, yeah, we just didn't know how to end it. And so we just had to come up with something.
Just did something.
As opposed to if they're like, no, this is what we intended, because I'm like, dude, then you suck, man, because that was not a good ending. That was a bad idea. But how far along are you in it that you've been?
Right now, like halfway through second season, but I've seen the whole show.
Okay.
I might have skipped episodes in the last couple seasons though.
Okay.
But I'm remembering stuff that I don't remember because I didn't watch this until like 7 years ago.
Okay.
Or a little bit less, something like that. But
yeah.
I just love the format of the show. Like a bunch of shit happens, and then you slowly get the backstory of each character that's slowly revealed throughout the whole season. It's really well done, man.
That's how I just watched Little Fires Everywhere.
Okay.
And that's kind of how they did it, was it gives you this, like, threw you into it. And then it slowly, each episode, you got a backstory of why this person is the way they are. And you're like, holy fuck.
It keeps your interest in it.
That's fucked up. Yeah.
Well, the one that I just started watching, you started watching a little bit of it too, that I'm a little late on, is I just finally started watching the Apocalypse season of American Horror Story.
Oh, okay.
And have you watched any of those?
I watched sporadically here and there the Freak Show one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And the, is it Coven?
The one about the witches?
Like in New Orleans or something?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw parts of that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is not a show you can only watch little bits and pieces of.
Especially this season.
And then this season is awesome because it really kind of ends a whole, because this is what, the 8th season, and it really kind of ends the whole thing they've sort of been building up since the first season of Murder House, because there was Murder House, Asylum, Coven, Freak Show, Hotel, Roanoke, Cult, and now Apocalypse. And this one especially ties in with Coven heavily. This is basically a sequel to Coven, but it also very directly ties in with events that happened at the very beginning in Murder House, and even like a little bit of other stuff too, like having to do with Hotel and stuff like that. Like, this show has been one of those shows where, just kind of like when we talked about the first season of Picard and all that stuff, it's another one of those ones where I watch it and I'm like, all right, I'm going to give this a chance. And I go through, there's however many episodes. You know what I'm going to say, right?
I do.
You get through, say if there's 10 episodes, you get through and you get to like episode 8 or so, and you're like, fuck, this is so good. I'm so invested. And then it gets to like the end, the last 2 episodes, and then they like take this fucking weird
curveball.
Yeah.
Curve, yeah. They give you this left turn, throw you this weird curve, and they do some wonky shark jumping ending, and you're like, oh, man. Really? I was so invested in this. And for me, American Horror Story is just guilty of that every
season.
Fucking season. Now, that being said, Coven was not too bad. The ending of Coven wasn't bad. My problem I had with Coven was there were certain elements of it that at first I was like, ugh, what is this, like an R-rated version of a WB girls show? But it got better. It definitely got better, and it got way more serious and more dire consequences and everything at the end. And it ended well, but I felt like at the end of Coven, I felt like, okay, well, that was okay, but what was the point? You know, like where it left you kind of on a little bit of a cliffhanger, because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but it's like, you know, the stuff with the witches, and there's like that now it's like this whole new beginning and stuff in a way with them, and there's all this stuff, and you're like, and just when you're kind of like, oh, well, that would be interesting. I wonder how the reaction's going to be to this, and when this, and it's over, and I was just like, okay, this just felt like a big build up
to nothing,
to an end. But now with Apocalypse, it totally gives that season and those characters purpose, because now there's a reason for them, and when they are very, very important to the future of the world and all this stuff. Man, I'm not done with it yet, but of course this is me, so I already know what happens. I read it all because I am,
of course.
Yeah, if Vito, for you that don't know, Vito loves sequel movies. You know, he loves sequels, even the ones that you people are like, oh, I'd never watch that because it's some bad, like, direct-to-video kind of thing.
Those are the best.
Vito's all... So we call him Sequel Man. Me, I am Spoiler Man. because anything, if I'm going to see a brand new movie, I'm going to watch something on TV, and I'm just like, I got to know what happens before it happens. I'm just too anxious. I mean, and that's the thing. This is a TV show. Holy fuck, man. This show is so grim. I mean, it doesn't have any qualms about getting really violent, really everything. The language, I mean, it's very grimly sexual and violent and satanic, and there's a lot of like that in Apocalypse. There's
it's funny how times change. Like 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been possible, you know?
That would not have flown.
I remember when it was like such a big deal back on shows like NYPD Blue.
I was just going to say, when he showed his ass on that show and like everybody lost their shit, man.
I wasn't even going to say about the ass. I was going to say when they were saying, they were saying things like shit, just saying the word shit on there and everything. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of what I've been like into, is the whole Apocalypse thing. That's like what I'm sort of starting to binge on and everything.
I finally finished Dr. Sleep, the book.
Yeah, what do you think?
It was pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah. Told you
now I want to rewatch the movie.
Yeah, me too.
And
I need to rewatch it and compare it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because there were some things in the book I was like, I don't remember that happening in the movie.
Yeah, they changed, especially the ending. It was very changed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it, man. It took me 4 months because I was off and on it, but it was good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I really enjoyed that one.
I love both. What a rare instance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's really hard to pick which one did I like better, because, like you said, the endings are so different. How can you really pick one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd pick one to be better.
Yeah.
They're different.
I could.
But they're equally
like apples
as
and oranges.
good, I guess. Yeah. Next up is The Institute.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah. I have that upstairs. I'm going to give that a shot next, I think.
Nice.
The dome one I keep going on.
Under the Dome?
Under the Dome, yep. I keep looking. I was like, I need to start that one. I was like, it's like 30-something hours.
Oh, the audio, yeah.
The audiobook. I was like, can I do this right now?
I got the audiobook, and I wasn't that into the narrator guy.
Oh, okay.
I only made it about 5 hours in, and I kind of gave up on it.
Yeah.
But reading the book was an amazing experience.
Yeah, I'm finding that some books I have to read, and other ones I'm good with audio.
Right.
But the ones I have to read, I can't focus for some reason. I keep forgetting what I'm doing. And
I like reading books first, and then I want to listen to the audiobook later.
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm like you, where I kind of zone out sometimes, and I don't remember what they just said on the audiobook, or even when I'm reading sometimes. But
yeah, I definitely do it when I read too, but at least I can go back. I know where it was. I don't have to go search for where I left off at. But I don't know. I just have a hard time focusing on a few. Like James Rollins. Can't ever follow his.
The audiobooks?
I can't do
because
it.
the narrators usually suck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
maybe,
guys.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I just finished Demon Crown.
I just finished Demon Crown. I just finished Bone Labyrinth, the book, which took me a couple of years to finish, but I was off and on again. But yeah, the next one I need to read is the Seventh Plague.
Okay.
And then I think Demon Crown is next. And then I think it's the Crucible.
The Crucible.
And then there's like the Last Odyssey. And then next year he's got a new one coming out.
Mm-hmm. And he's got some short stories coming out.
He does,
I think.
yeah. That dude's like a powerhouse, man.
Fucking amazing.
And one of the nicest dudes you can meet.
Absolutely.
Like, so fucking cool.
Yeah, I hope they reschedule this tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do we know? They haven't announced it yet, but I'm assuming things like WizardCon, because they just announced just a week ago. They announced that San Diego Comic-Con is for sure not going to happen this year. That's a big fucking deal, man.
Dude, how many tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars are going to be lost?
I mean,
by not running
just by that one thing.
Yeah.
Because so many movies like announce themselves there and the panels, and that's how you get people interested. I mean, Marvel movies, Star Wars movies, all sorts of, video games, comics, all sorts of stuff. I mean, man. And I know they're talking about, and I haven't looked too deeply into it. Maybe we could talk about it more next time as more information comes out. But I know they're talking about doing some sort of virtual online San Diego Comic-Con thing.
Wizard World did that in one city or a couple cities. They were happening around this time, They just did like a virtual panel thing or something like that.
Yeah, I started seeing that popping up more and more. So that may be our new normal for a while.
Yeah, I even saw some comedians do virtual stand-up comedy club things. So
it's not the same vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, either seeing it live and in person and up close and feeling the music.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
It is. It really
and
is.
even like seeing like the Comic-Cons and stuff like that, and getting to go and physically meet these stars and stuff like we did Walter Koenig
Yeah.
and stuff like that was amazing.
And the
The
experience.
experience and everything is like that it's totally different. Even like I had signed up and I didn't do any of them, but I got really busy. Is to these virtual things of meeting the stars and everything.
Right.
And you could possibly win a one-on-one thing with them or something, but it's different. Just like when we saw the Picard.
Yeah. Eva and what's his name?
Evan. Yeah, they were super sweet, and now I like them even more.
Right.
I mean, it really matters.
Yeah.
Right, and also, I mean,
I think it needs to be a nice balance between the two.
Mm-hmm.
I agree totally. I hope we come to a viable solution and a good somewhat safe middle ground where people do feel better about going out there again, and that these big events can happen, and that you don't have to necessarily be fearing for your life the whole time, because I want to see big tours. I want to see, big conventions and things like that. I want to, I love doing that stuff. I love going to it. So we'll see.
Time will tell.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
All right, I think it is about time that we delve into the main topic of Squad Talk. And this is where we're just going to pick one of the main things that's kind of stood out to us recently that's been brought up by people in the Geeking Squad and news bits and stuff. And that has been the fact that just not too long ago, the Pentagon officially released UFO videos. They don't like to call them UFO videos, but and went on the record as saying that yes, these videos are official. They're not doctored. They are not phony, and they're these are actual videos that our fighters filmed while up in the air, and we don't know what it is. We have no explanation. These are officially unidentified. Although they don't call it unidentified flying objects. Apparently they don't like calling it that. They call it
I wonder why.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing they call it doesn't really make that much. They call it unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah. That's better.
Phenomena.
The old UAPs.
Yeah. The UAPs, yeah. Oh my God, it's a UAP, I got a probe up my ass from a UAP, It was unidentified aerial phenomena, unidentified flying object. It's the same fucking thing.
Well, phenomena could be some kind of weather event. It could be swamp gas reflecting off the light of Venus.
God.
That's a phenomenon. It's not technically an object. That's their workaround, I think.
Yeah.
Clever
Douchebags.
little shits.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. This footage is not new.
Right.
This was originally leaked a couple times before. It was leaked in 2007, and then it was leaked again just a few years ago in 2017. Two of the things were published initially by the New York Times, and then the third time it was leaked by an organization that was co-founded by former Blink-182 singer Tom DeLonge.
I think DeLonge left Blink to start
He
this
did.
company, right?
Yeah.
That dude is
Full time.
Yeah.
Shit.
he's not fucking around. He's like, I saw an alien. It really fucked me up. I had to quit the band so I could find out what was up with these fucking aliens. It's like, oh my God, dude. that guy's something else. But hey, I don't know. He's patting himself on the back right now because he's like, hey,
fucking told you, bitches.
me making such a big, more public stink about this, I feel like this has made the government have to step up and say something. But Vito, do you want to explain what it is that this video even entails?
So it's a FLIR video, which is a forward-looking infrared. It's basically a camera that can see in the dark on these jet planes that they have. Mm. And it's basically tracking an object that's going, I think, 200-something knots, or it could be faster than that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But, yeah, this Navy, it's basically a real Navy training exercise that caught these objects on this FLIR camera. And it's been, the government classifies it because FLIR can detect weapon systems that the government doesn't want people to know that we have in our arsenal for obvious reasons. So I think that's why they didn't come out initially and say that this is real. But now they can because there's nothing in there that's actually quote-unquote classified that people don't want to know about. But I don't know. I guess they're saying it's an authentic video. I don't know.
They are. No, they're saying it's authentic. There's the one video from 2004 and everything, but then there was one from the pilot, the one that the pilot got back in 2015.
Okay, that's one where they actually used the tracking technology to track it, and he locked into it and then tracked it the entire time. And
and the thing was spinning and it was doing all these moves that no piece of machinery that we have should be able to do. And the pilot was just like, whoa.
Yeah, the way they described it reminded me of what I saw that one time. It's nothing I know of moves like that. That's not natural.
We'll talk about that because I know you brought it up a long time ago in another thing, but bring that up again because I don't even totally remember.
You don't remember? I was driving home late. It was 2 a.m. or something from work.
As usual.
Yeah, I was doing now still from podcast this time. But as I was driving home, I saw this red light in the sky above me, and it was just hovering there, and then it disappeared and showed up way up here, and then it's poof, 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 and it's moved all over the sky in all these different directions, and I was that nothing I know moves like that.
Right.
It's usually you'd see it gradually move along or something, but no, it disappeared and it reappeared way over here, and it did it multiple times in different areas. I don't know what does that. So it's a unidentified UAP.
Yeah, it's a UAP.
It's a UAP.
Aerial phenomenon.
Yeah. But that's what they described it like that. It's that's what I fucking saw.
And what's weird is on that video, they have a thing called black. I forgot what it's called, but anything that's hot shows up black. Everything that's cold shows up white on their setting that they had on this video. And this object is showing up white, which means it's a lot colder than the ocean or whatever part of water they were on. So what?
Oh, interesting. What the hell does that?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me because usually an object, a plane or anything, is going to get hotter as it goes through the air, right? Friction and everything else. So why would
energy
So why would this object be colder than the surrounding areas that it's next to?
Because what it's using to propel itself and the materials that the ship itself are made out of are not of this earth. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. So seriously though, I think that's it. And then it gets all the way back into good old what's old boy?
Bob Lazar?
Yeah, Bob Lazar and his
115.
And all that kind of stuff. And I mean,
he was proven right eventually.
He was.
See, just like our Blink 182 guy.
Yep.
He's like, I told you so. There's some glimmer of truth there, and then Bob Lazar has some glimmer of truth. I was like, well, are they telling all the truth then? Do we know?
No, a lot of people are bullshit artists. I'll tell you that right now.
No, a lot of
Bob
people.
Lazar, I don't think he is. I so want to believe that these are real alien spacecraft.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, that's what I thought they were, dude. But now I just think it's some kind of advanced technology that we have.
I don't know.
Now, it could be from aliens that crash landed here at some point, or we just developed something really fucking badass.
Right. Well, that's kind of what I'm...
Right.
Yeah, right. Well, that's kind of... I think you're onto something there in that I think that it may or may not be aliens, that alien crafts that we're seeing or whatever, and it may or may not be some kind of American or whomever, technology they're not copying to. Entirely possible. But I wouldn't be surprised if the answer is somewhere in the middle. that it is some sort of hybrid of alien technology. I've never been like you. I've never been like one of these people that's like, fucking aliens, like, oh man, I bet it's aliens. And I've always been very skeptical of that. But I'm one of those people that it's not that I'm a non-believer, but I'm not a believer. I'm more one of those people that sort of like puts things together and looks at things practically. And I'm just, and people are
You're like an agnostic conspiracy theory.
kind of,
theorist,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I'm just looking at a lot of different things that have been going on, and a rare instance of the government being open with us. Now they're actually acknowledging, like, yeah, here's this footage. Yeah, this is all legit. And yeah, we see what you're seeing, and we don't know what the hell it is. And they're not saying it's aliens, but they're also not saying it's aliens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And usually the government just kind of ignores this stuff. It's like this stuff comes out and they're just, because they have, I mean, this footage has been around for ages. And I understand what you're saying about, well, they had to wait and prove that it wasn't something that was like important to them. But again, in a way, doesn't that almost make it seem like an admission without admitting it? Because if this was some technology of ours they didn't want people to know about, they would not address this the way they did. They would not sit there and say,
I mean, know what it is.
Unless they're trying to like, well, if we go tell people we don't know what it is and we really do know what it is, they'll be, I don't know. I think that their tactic has always been, we just don't talk about it.
That's true. I mean, look what they did with the F-117 stealth aircraft.
Yeah.
Deployed in the Desert Storm. Well, they had that shit in the late 70s that they were developed plans for that shit. And they slowly let it out over 10, 15 years. Well, that first video came out in 2004, which was 16 years ago, whatever.
Right.
So what if we've already advanced technology even past what was on that film, and now they're like, well, fuck it, we'll give them this one because we're already more advanced now that our enemies won't even know what to do. You know?
But why say they don't know what it is?
Why say anything about it at all?
Copped up to the other one.
That's kind of my point. It's like, why, historically, it feels like they've always just sort of, we don't want to get caught lying, but we also can't cop to it. So what's the best thing to do? Just don't say anything. So we're not lying. We're not admitting. We're just not even addressing it. We're just acting like we don't even know. So why are they choosing now to address these videos and everything? And then the one from 2015, especially the more recent one with that one, even when I saw it, I was like, whoa.
Because that one actually moves and does stuff. The other one just kind of hovered there, right?
Right.
The first one?
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I think that one, for all the reasons we talked about, is amazing in and of itself. But why cop to that? I just feel like there's all these little nuggets of things that are starting to come out, and maybe people go, oh, you're crazy, you're paranoid or whatever. No, I feel like within the next 5 to 10 years or so, we're going to finally have something happen, some kind of definitive, like, proof. Something where it's just going to be like the jig is up. You know what I mean? Like, either that there were ones that came here before, or there are ones that are here, or whatever. I feel like something like that is on the horizon.
Well, if Elon Musk ever gets us to Mars and puts people down there, maybe they'll find something in 10, 15, 20 years, and then it'll prove that we're not alone, Maybe.
Who knows? I mean, that's the thing they talk about with the whole possibility of space travel, because they sit there and say, oh, well, it's impossible for this, that, and the other reason. Well, first of all, it's only impossible when you're thinking of it in terms of human Earth terms, We don't understand. I mean, we have this arrogance where we think we fucking understand everything. Well, there is no element that could make this happen. It's like, here, I mean, all the elements that are on this planet came from stars, It's arrogant to think, just like I think it's arrogant to think we're the only fucking life on the universe. It's arrogant to also think that every element that exists in the entire universe is here on this planet. And I mean, there could even be elements we haven't found traces of yet. We may not have even gone deep enough into the Earth or something. Right. There could be elements that are billions of years old we haven't even touched on, or are in such trace amounts.
Right. I mean, just look at the movie The Core and look what they found at the center of the Earth.
Journey to the center of the Earth. I mean, look what that fucking happened. 20,000 leagues beneath the sea. I mean, come on. I feel like it's more than a coincidence, is my point, that all this stuff is coming out now. I think there was some kind of pressure somehow, some way, whatever, whether it's from Blink 182 or whether it's from the president and stuff. Because, I mean, again, I'm not getting into whether you like him or hate him or anything. We're not even going to talk about that. But the one thing is that he had said before he ever got elected was, I want to know what's going on with all that stuff. You know, everybody kind of laughed and said,
well,
Clinton. He's not the first. Yeah, I was going to say Clinton.
He's not the first one. But the difference is, again, look who we're dealing with now.
And they didn't tell Clinton shit. I don't even think they told him everything about Area 51.
They wouldn't.
Right? Yeah.
Well, and then
the president doesn't have enough clearance to get
exactly.
into, that's.
Well, but then getting on.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to look up, because I'm talking nonstop about this show that I watched on Netflix, Hangar One, and they bring that up, talking about like all
have you
the
watched
presidents
that?
No.
Dude.
No, you should.
I saw a little bit of it.
You should. It's about following MUFON. It's the Mutual UFO Network.
Yes.
Or something like that. And it's all their like documentation of the sightings and everything. And one of them talks about all the different presidents that have known of some sort about aliens. And I think it started with like Eisenhower or something.
Something like that, yeah.
His granddaughter speaks about aliens and all that stuff.
Yeah, so how he like disappeared for a certain amount of time, and they found him like way off in a different state, and like there's no, in that time frame, there was no way to get him there in that time frame.
Whoa, really?
And yeah.
Huh.
And they're talking about like underground tunnels that, you know, secret them away and everything to all these different spots so they can discover, you know, take all these parts of alien stuff and get them to other places without us fucking knowing about it.
Right.
It's all underground super tunnels and shit. It was really I don't know how much of it's true, but it was really fucking interesting. And they had one talk about timing of all of this. I think it was in 2015.
Okay.
That a space station found this footage. I sent it to you. I think, where it shows this light orbiting Earth or whatever, you know. So it's coming down to Earth, and then all of a sudden it's like it's, you know, orbiting slowly going and stuff like that, the pace, and then a bright light flashes from Earth up at it, shoots up at it, and this thing turns right angle and shoots off.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, because I think they were developing some kind of light energy, like propulsion system where they use light to propel spaceships and stuff. I wonder if that was some kind of experiment that they were doing on an object.
Could be.
Maybe.
That's interesting. I'll have to watch that episode. That's really fucking cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit like that. It's like, oh my God, this is so amazing. You guys have to watch this.
Or, you watch it, and what it looks like is it almost looks like a missile or something was fired from the surface towards this object. And as it comes close, all of a sudden this object is like, fucking, I'm out of here. And it takes off.
Like a bat out of hell.
And it very clearly
changes direction.
It's not a shooting star. It's not a comet. It's not. It very clearly is like, oh, I have to move because this rock, and it goes. Broom. I mean, dude, I don't know if that footage is legit because that hasn't been confirmed like this footage has that we were talking about.
I don't know. Either way, UFO or it's the light stuff that we're. I mean, either way, it's fucking cool.
Yeah,
whatever
and it's something
it may
that they're
be.
not telling us about.
Right.
Right.
So, you know, Space Force and telling this objects and stuff like that, maybe they're playing around with that kind of shit.
Here's my thing. I don't believe anybody, even the kookiest of presidents, is going to go and not only make but get greenlit in today's day and age a Space Force kind of thing without there being some kind of reason, legit reason, not just speculation and not just, I mean, when you think of what all's involved in that, and it's just so funny that it came about and there was no like precursor for it that we know of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember like 10 or 15 years ago reading an article in like Popular Mechanics where they were developing some kind of drop ship for Marines to get anywhere in the world within 2 hours by shooting them into space and then dropping them back down.
Right.
So technically that is a Space Force. But it's not something where I think we'd be stationed in space and using practice drills in space.
And acting as like space cops.
Right.
You know?
Space cops.
And then
Makes me think of police cops from The Simpsons for some reason.
Oh gosh.
Oh, God.
It would just be way too arbitrary for something like that to just suddenly happen. And it's weird because it's like they made a thing out of it, but then they kind of didn't make a thing out of it. Like there was a big hoopla about it for like 2 seconds. Like, oh, I'm doing a Space Force thing and all this stuff. And everybody laughed at it and made fun of it, you know, and whatever. And there wasn't like a whole lot of blowback against it. It just kind of quietly went away.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it went away like it doesn't exist or they ditched it. It just means like, oh, we're not talking about that anymore. And it's like, I think they had to make it out there. They had to put it out there like, yeah, this is a thing and stuff, but you know, okay, we're not going to delve too much more in it. That's all you need to know, people. You know, you don't need to know any more about this. You'll know when it's important for you to know about it, kind of thing. I do think there is a chance that this is stuff that could be being developed on Earth.
It's the government. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it could be a black ops private segment of the government that even the government doesn't know operates with like illegal funding.
Yeah,
that
like
is
Sigma
developed.
Force.
Yeah. Always back to Rollins with this.
Back to Rollins.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think, but I just saw that footage. I got really excited. I know that the one pilot, they had him back in November. They had him as a guest on Rogan.
Yeah.
But all I know is I watched that episode and it was very interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And that was a guy who you just didn't get the vibe. I mean, I guess he could be full of shit. But I mean, they admitted that the footage is legit. So to me, everything that pilot has been saying in interviews and stuff like that is credible. Mm-hmm. So it would seem.
Yeah, I don't get what the angle is of letting that out like that.
That's what I'm saying.
If it's not, that's what it is.
I'd like to know if anybody out there, because I know we have some people that listen to us that are in the Air Force, and I know that we have other people that have had interest in this kind of stuff. I'd love to know more if any of you guys out there, any of our friends at the Geeking Squad group, what do you guys think about this stuff? I mean, I know we talked a little bit about it, but I'm open to suggestions. You know, if you guys have some good squad input to put out there, man, let us know, because that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
The more we're always interested in learning more about aliens.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
conspiracies.
Especially this stuff. We're all about it. We could do our show all the time just talking about this, basically.
We seem to circle back to it a lot.
Well,
it's awesome.
It's because it keeps coming up.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to come up more and more.
You're
right.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying it too.
The aliens will be back, and so will we, because buckwheat would have wanted it that way. Sorry.
I thought you were going to go for a Starship Troopers reference, but then I thought, no, I don't think Larry would go for a Starship Troopers reference.
I've only seen that once.
Dude.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, my God. It's like a once-a-month movie for me.
Holy
man.
Christ.
So good.
No, it was good when I saw it. I remember I haven't seen it.
It's like 4 sequels now.
Oh,
really?
I'm
yeah.
sure there
Wow.
is.
Okay.
And you've seen them all, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the last couple were animated ones. Not like Disney animation, but like that CG, like motion capture.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What do you suggest?
All right, so I think we're coming to the end of the first episode, the first official episode of the Geeking Squad podcast, presented to you by Geeking Poetic. But yeah, I think, before we go, we're just going to kind of leave on a positive note. We want to, because our show, our whole thing is about positivity. We don't want to discourage people from things. We want to encourage people into checking out things. And we're going to talk about stuff that we think, real quick, that you should maybe check out.
I will go first. I just got done reading. It's a short book, and I only got this book because it was free on Audible. It's an Audible original. I was like, well, it's free. Why not? I'm just going to get it. And I listened to it. Oh, my God. It's so fucking good, you guys. It's called Midnight Sun by James Dommek Jr. Dommek Jr. And when I was listening to it, again, I didn't know anything about this book. It's up in Alaska. And it's this guy, he's going to go check out this backstory about this one dude that, did he lose his shit? Did he lose his mind, go crazy? Is he just evil? he just likes to hurt people, or did some supernatural thing fuck with him, and that's why he did what he did, kind of thing. So he's like, what happened to this guy? What made him this way? And it goes through this whole story, and he's doing all these interviews and everything, and he's like trying to get the lawyer and trying to talk to the actual guy, and it was a really cool story. And this is the one book I told you guys before earlier that I have a hard time sometimes staying focused on Audible books, and this one did not do that. This one I was like literally driving with my hands clutching the wheel. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Twice it did that to me.
Wow.
My mom was like, oh my God, I don't know how about you feel about you driving listening to books anymore, now that you say that. But this really grabbed my attention. And I didn't know reading it if it was a real true story or if it was like a make-believe story.
Those are the best.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really good. And I had to like look it up at the end of it to even know, and I won't say anything because Larry ruin it anyway for himself.
No, I don't want to. Yeah, well, I will. For myself, I don't ruin it. I don't spoil it for other people. I spoil it for myself only.
But it's only like 2.5 hours long, 3 hours long, something like that. So it's a real short read, and it was super fucking interesting, and I do highly recommend it. I'm super glad I.
And the name of it was again?
Midnight Sun. Like
okay.
S-O-N.
Okay, Midnight Sun.
By Dommek?
By
Dommek.
Dommek. D-O-M-M-E-K, Jr.
Okay.
Oh, he's a junior, right?
He's a junior.
Everybody knows he's Dommek Jr. Dun, dun. Isn't that a rat tune? No.
It's got a rat feel to it. Yeah. You see that Geico commercial with rats in it?
Dude, I've got a rat problem. They're playing round and round.
So fucking good, man.
I fucking love Rat. So I was excited about that. Anyway, Vito, what about you, man?
So I just recently saw a movie called The Beyond.
Okay.
From January 2018, directed by Hasraf Dulal. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, dude. This movie was one of the coolest science fiction movies I've ever seen in a very long time, dude. Basically, I guess a wormhole appears in the upper atmosphere, and we don't know what the fuck it is, but we decide to send people through it to find out what's going on. But since the gravitational waves are so strong, a human body can't survive. So they developed the technology to upload a human's consciousness into this robot called a Human 2.0 to make the trip. And it's just awesome. I'm not going to ruin it for you guys, but if you're a fan of Contact, Interstellar, and like the RoboCop remake, like you're going to fucking love the shit out of this movie. I loved it, dude. I thought it was so good. So The Beyond from 2018, check it out.
Nice.
Yeah, I watched the trailer. I was like, boy, this looks like it easily cost tens of hundreds of dollars.
I thought the effects were spectacular.
I was just teasing. I couldn't really tell by the trailer, you know. You could tell it was definitely like a more independent type movie, you know, because of the way the trailer was made. But no, I mean, you know, sometimes those movies can be a real pleasant surprise, man. You know, you're like, holy shit, I wouldn't have expected that because this isn't a big blockbuster, you know, but it sounds like a really cool concept.
It is, yeah. It's really fucking cool. You guys would enjoy it.
Cool. I mean, as far as me for like recommendations and stuff, you mentioned a movie, you mentioned a book. For me, what do I always lean towards? It's toys and stuff. And I'm going to make a real quick recommendation out there. Now, if you watch my Toyetic segments and stuff, you know I've been talking about the new retro figures that have been coming out from Hasbro for Star Wars. They're putting out, Vito knows because he picked me up a set of them. They've been re-releasing vintage Star Wars figures almost exactly like they were back in the late 70s and 80s. Now, here's the thing. I'm not recommending those, although I do recommend them. I think they're great. I think they're really cool toys if you could find them undamaged, because apparently... boy, oh boy, I don't know if it's Hasbro or if it's more than likely Walmart. They're having a terrible time fucking keeping these figures in good shape before they ship them out or put them on the shelves for people. But what I just recently saw and found out literally today that I was like, whoa, okay, that's pretty cool. And I've seen no information about this anywhere hardly, is a friend, an acquaintance online posted a picture from his Walmart, and he lives up in, I think he was up in like Winnipeg or something like that, so he's Canadian. And he posted a picture of how those Star Wars retro figures just finally showed up at his Walmart. And he took a picture of the display. And it was a really cool looking display with all these retro Star Wars figures with the old looking cards. Everybody went, oh, yeah, cool. But what I noticed that was slightly cut off in the photo, but enough that you could see half of it, is that in the display bin right next to it was nothing but a bunch of apparent reproduction retro 1980s, the real Ghostbuster figures. Fucking Ghostbusters. Now, I don't know if any of you know about, do you remember the Ghostbusters toys from the 80s? Did you play with those at all?
Yeah, because I remember the real Ghostbusters TV show cartoon.
And with Egon and all them, and they had and Slimer, but they had the toys were super cool.
Yeah, there was a toilet like monster thing.
Right. And they would and you could make them like look scared and stretch them and their eyes would pop out.
Yeah.
Do you remember those?
Yes.
Some of the coolest toys from the 1980s. Those things are apparently they're remaking them just like with the Star Wars retro toys. There's Ghostbuster retro toys. I have looked on Walmart.com. I've looked on all the various toy dealers, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. I've seen nothing about these toys. Now, I did hear a while back a rumor that they were talking about doing this, that they were going to possibly re-release it. And then that was the last I heard. That was months ago. They're at retail, apparently. But I don't think they're at retail here in the United States because none of the various retailers I've seen, Entertainment Earth, nobody's got these things. Not listed for pre-order, nothing. There are other really cool looking Ghostbuster toys that have been coming out that are super detailed, that look more like the Black Series, like more realistic looking action figures, updated, but not the reproductions of the 80s ones. So that's my recommendation to you folks out there. If you're into that kind of stuff, if you like Ghostbusters or you liked those toys and everything, man, check out like your local Walmarts and stuff. And if any of you guys are listening from Canada or Australia or other places where they distribute a lot of these toys and everything, let me know if you see any of these out there. I'd just love to know more about them. So that's really kind of it. I can't sit there and say, this is a recommendation to get it, but dude, fucking get it. It's a reproduction of a Ghostbuster toy from the 80s. Those are some of the best toys ever. So that's my recommendation. And definitely let us know in the Geeking Squad if you've seen that, and let us know anything. Let us know what you thought of the show. And man, that's the thing with this. This is the Geeking Squad podcast. We want to hear from you. A lot of the things we're going to talk about on here are going to be things that you folks are going to bring up, because a lot of what we brought up was stuff that people posted in the squad group on Facebook. So yeah, definitely look us up on Facebook. You can find us with other places. What's our website? Do you remember?
Yeah, it is geekingpoeticpodcast.com.
Yeah, you can find everything can be accessed from there. You can find us. You can look up Geeking Poetic on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, where of course YouTube. Yes. If you don't want to just listen to us, if you want to look at our fugly mugs, then we have all sorts of videos. We do other shows that obviously you've probably heard some advertisements for and heard us reference and everything. We've got all sorts of geeky content. So anything strikes your fancy, please go check it out. We also have a Patreon. If anybody feels like throwing us a couple of $2-3 to help us do this, because we're always trying to upgrade, and we just got a bunch of whole new gear. We've got new computers and new cameras and new lights and new, editing software, all sorts of stuff. We're really trying to do this so that we put out the best product for y'all. So with that, I think we close the book on episode number 1.
That's all she wrote, folks.
Yep.
That is it. So from us to you, we will see you soon. We will be back in 2 weeks.
Did you bring any fruits and vegetables on the planet? 2 weeks. No? Nothing, Megan?
What is that from? I know what that's from.
Total Recall.
That's what I was going to say. I thought it was Total Recall.
You guys.
It's hopeless.
Guys.
Yeah, says the guy who said, "Is David Bowie dead?"
Right, seriously.
Fucking don't even want to hear it from you.
You can't judge us.
All right. On that note, we'll see you all soon.
Later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.